It's now time for Ermanni and Edwards with Maz, live on the Woodward Sports Network. Every day, 2 to 4 p.m. Starring Ryan Ermanni, Michigan great and former NFL baller Ryan Edwards, and of course, Tom Mazaway. Let's talk some sports.
Hey, let's go. Monday show, August 14th, 2023. Ermanni and Edwards with Maz. Woodward Sports Network, woodwardsports.com. Fox2Detroit.com if you're watching live. However you are watching or listening to Woodward Sports, we appreciate you, and we appreciate this guy to my right. The one, the only, Terry Foster.
Now,
out today.
I call this show the final word, but you're the final guy left. I heard
well, just for today, hopefully.
Braylon and Maz are gone.
Braylon's not here. Tom Mazaway, he's partying with Snooki and the situation. He is down on the Jersey Shore today, he says.
All right, can I say something mean now? I don't like people from New Jersey.
Except Tom Mazaway.
Except Maz. He's the only guy.
Right.
But he's talking about, I'm from New York, though.
What is it about Jersey people that you don't like?
They're annoying, and they think they're all important. And they do little stuff that you don't care about, and they want you to care about it. I just don't like it, man.
Yeah, man.
And they think they're from New York.
And there is a big difference between Jersey and New York, I think.
Well, it is. In fact, when I was covering the NBA, the trip I looked forward to at least was the New Jersey trip. Because New Jersey sucks. There's a bunch of factories and smokestacks around. You can see New York, but you can't get there.
Or at least it's going to take you hours to get there, right?
Take you, a couple hours to get there. So, yeah, I hated the New Jersey trip. I hated the New Jersey trip more than the Sacramento trip.
Sacramento trip feels like a really, really tough trip.
It's a tough trip, but at least our hotel had a great steakhouse, so that was it.
Well, and made it easier for you to eat good steak. The great Terry Foster is with us. It is always a pleasure. You know, we started this show 2 years ago on August 12th. Today's so we're 2 days past our 2-year anniversary here. Terry Foster on the very first show of the final word. We called it the bottom line back then.
That's right.
And I'll never forget. It had been 3 years since I did. You know, we did the Detroit Sports 105.1, and that ended for me and us back in 2016. It had been 2021 since I got back on this format, you know, radio or YouTube, whatever you call it, a digital sports show like this, such as this. And we had this 2 hours planned. And in the first 12 minutes of the show, I completely said everything I had to say, and I was done 12 minutes in.
But that's a world record.
I had nothing left. Terry Foster.
Well, you just repeat yourself for the next hour and 48 minutes.
That's all I did. Yeah, we had nothing left. We were shooting blanks at that point. JB is with us, the great JB. Parker is with us as well. There is some really interesting things happening in the sports world today. Like all that kind of came down in the last hour. We're going to get to those in just a little bit, but we will start where else with the Detroit Lions. Terry Foster, Lions on the practice field right now as we speak, fresh off a 21-16 win over the New York Football Giants on Friday night at Ford Field in the preseason. Before we get to the game,
you don't want to talk to me about a preseason game.
Well, I do want to talk to you about the preseason game because I am waiting for your analysis of said preseason game. But how many people out there were watching the game and were upset by the weather cut in?
I was there.
A lot of people.
The hands go up. So, look, and this is This is something that had to happen. So our general manager at Fox 2 did come out with a statement today. I want to read it for you. It's crucial that we prioritize safety by broadcasting weather warnings during football games. Our foremost responsibility is to protect individuals who may be at risk during tornado situations. We sincerely hope that our devoted viewers and football fans understand the significance of these warnings, particularly in times of active tornado conditions. That's from Greg Easterly, general manager of Fox 2. And I think it's important to point this out, too, because, I mean, I had over 100 text messages from people. Why is the weather cut in on the air? Can't you run a crawl? And the answer is no. You cannot just run a crawl when there is a tornado that actually did touch down.
It was in Perry. Fenton, who cares?
It's still your viewing area, and that's the point. Terry, you are exactly the point right now, because unless you are affected personally by the weather, you couldn't care less.
But let me say this. Folks who love sports, there are other things more important than sports, like having your house swept away, flooding, dying, and stuff like that. So you have to do things like that.
It was an impossible situation to be in, because unless you are directly affected by the weather, you didn't want the weather on. But if you were in that tornado zone, you were glued on every word as the track of the storm was coming through. Heaven forbid something tragically happened, and we're showing a football game. What do you think the story is then? I mean, you're getting hammered each way. So it was an impossible situation to be in. The right thing was done. The statement came out today. I saw news reports written about that. It's been online everywhere. But our general manager came out with a very strong statement today at Fox 2, and I just wanted to pass that along to you, because
plus there were rumors it could be in Waterford. It could be in a lot of towns that we care about. So if something happened and you don't broadcast stuff, they dog you like they do in Hawaii. Oh, the sirens didn't go off. What's going on? Or I was pissed because I was listening to the Tigers. I watched the first half somewhere, and then I was in my car and was listening to the Tigers and the Lions on radio. They mentioned nothing about the radio, about the weather. I'm like, aren't we about to explode here, and you have nothing about this? Come on now.
Right.
Am I driving into a tornado? Warn me.
Right. Exactly. There's no question about it. And I remember in I think it was June of 2021 when we had the floods around here. It is complete devastation. My house flooded. A bunch of homes in Grosse Pointe, in Detroit, were all flooded out, and you're just left with weeks of devastation. At some point, people that aren't affected by those floods don't want to hear about the floods anymore. And yet, if you're living in that zone, you are so consumed with the floodwaters. That's all you want to hear about.
You know what I was saying? I'm glad it ain't me.
Exactly. So that's out there, gang. I just wanted to put that out there and just clear it up and let that die where it goes because of the statement today. 21-16, Terry Foster. Biggest thing that came out of the preseason game number 1 was.
It's garbage. Preseason games are garbage. That's the most preseason. And I always like when the fans are like, oh, what do you want to see out of the Lions in the preseason game? Here's what you want to see. You want to see your favorite player walk off the field in one piece. Preseason game, especially the first one, it's more about putting that pecking order. Who's my second string, third string? You already know what Aiden Hutchinson can do.
Right.
You know so much about Jared Goff, he didn't even play. That's how important that was. Now I did find out something. I don't want Nate Sudfeld as a backup quarterback. We did
find that out. We did find that out. That pretty happy that Teddy Bridgewater was signed and is practicing today.
And you know what? I am glad the Lions got through their own bullshit, because what they were talking about. Nate Sudfeld, he's the perfect backup to Jared Goff. Well, we found out he's not the perfect backup. Then after saying that, All of a sudden, they're trying to sign Teddy Bridgewater.
Right.
That's lying to the fans. But I understand why they do that, because if a guy is on your roster, you say nice things about him because you don't want to upset him and you want him to feel like he's a part of the team. But that's the one thing that I got out of that. Thank God they were just joking with us when they said that Nate Sudfeld was the perfect backup for Jared Goff. This guy, his career, he's passed for 188 yards.
That's because he doesn't play a lot.
You know why?
Yeah, I do.
Because he are not good, Buck. That's why.
Right. Oh, my gosh. Terry, one of the things that I took away from that game on Friday night, twofold. And none of it had anything to do with what happened on the field. When's the last time that 60,000 people were at a preseason game?
Well, I heard it's 48,000.
Okay.
They said it was 60,000, but it was 48.
Okay, let's go to 50,000.
Okay.
When was the last time that 50,000 people showed up to a preseason game? And how many people were actually still watching the game in the third quarter? You know, I mean, usually in these preseason games, you watch the first quarter, maybe the first half, but certainly when halftime comes on, you're done with the game.
You're at the bar.
You are at the bar. The TV is on something else. You're not paying attention. The amount of people that were in that stadium, whether it was 50,000, 48,000, whatever the case may be, and the amount of eyeballs still on the TV in the third and fourth quarter, I think just kind of says everything about where this city is and that appetite for a winning football team here in Detroit.
Yeah, and normally for people who watch the second half of a preseason game, I make fun of them. I can't do it this year because I totally understand. People are buying into the Lions, and it's not just the local people, but it's the national people. It's the NFL. I am, for once in my life.
Wait, what?
You heard me. I believe in the Detroit Lions. First time in my life.
That's incredible to hear you say that.
I didn't even believe in them in the 90s with Barry Sanders and Lomas Brown and Herman Moore, because there was so much friction and division amongst players and coaches and the front office that it just wasn't going to work out. And that slowly disintegrated, where the 90s, the best era of Lions football, they had a losing record.
And in the decade.
In the decade, right.
Yeah.
Because it was slowly disintegrating. And this is, it was a time where they would win 11 games and then 5 games.
Right.
12 games and then 6 games. Because it was all predicated on how tough their schedule was. So I believe this Lions team, they're in for at least a 5 or 6 year run. Because when you look at the key players, they're young babies.
Yeah.
You just want to grab them by the cheeks and say, hey, hi, cutie pie, you're a nice little guy. But they're young. And so young guys grow up, they become chiseled, they get paid, and this is the beginning of a very good run.
I want to explore this a little bit further, and we will look at some of the things that happen on the field. Jack Campbell, Jahmyr Gibbs, Jameson Williams. You wrote a piece on woodwardsports.com about Jameson Williams. We can talk about all these things, plus an incredible couple of stories that happened in the sports world over the last hour. We'll get to those coming up. But first, a message from Planet Fitness.
Yes, because summertime is a great time to join Planet Fitness and beat low E. Planet Fitness is your home of the judgment-free zone where anyone, and I do mean anyone, can feel comfortable and work on their fitness goals. At Planet Fitness, you'll experience a squeaky clean gym with tons of equipment, a full body workout in just 30 minutes in the 30-minute circuit, plus all memberships include fitness training. Your fitness is essential and a key part of your physical and mental wellness, which is why they have invited teens between the ages of 14 and 19 to work out for free all summer long with the High School Summer Pass program. For more information or to join today, visit your local Planet Fitness or check them out online at planetfitness.com.
We are the network for Detroit by Detroiters. Welcome to the Woodward Sports Network.
At work and at home. We're there with smarter security solutions, featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
Your home is your most important asset. Flexibility in the sales process is key. When you work with Mark White & Associates, you can cancel at any time, for any reason, without penalty. Speaking of flexibility, check this out. Who you work with matters. Hire the best broker in the game.
The only sports network in Detroit that starts with a W. You know, because we win. Woodward Sports, Detroit's winning sports network.
Subscribe to Woodward Sports Network on YouTube. Coming up on 47,000 subscribers. We have a goal. I have a goal. I have a self-imposed goal of trying to get to 50,000 YouTube subscribers by the start of football season, when the Lions and Chiefs play on Thursday Night Football, September 7th. If you are out there in listener land, in YouTube land, share the link, tell a friend, put it on your social media, tell friends to subscribe to Woodward Sports, trying to get to 50,000 subscribers by the start of the Lions regular season. Talking Lions preseason right now. Terry Foster is in the house. Braylon out today. Maz out today. So sitting next to the legend himself. Terry, one of the things about today, let me get you the updates on today. Dan Campbell spoke earlier today before practice started. Said there's a bit of a flu bug or some kind of bug going around the team right now. So a few guys, more than a few guys, will not practice today. We'll get an update after practice. But Aiden Hutchinson, they said, did have a bit of a foot, also known as foot injury. Has a bit of a foot, nothing major, but most likely was going to sit out today. Emmanuel Mosley, the defensive back from San Francisco, the 49ers, in the offseason, signed as a free agent. He is coming along nicely, so that was all good news. And no major injuries when you play in the preseason, Terry. You just want to make sure all of your guys are healthy when they come out. It does appear that to be the case, that all those guys that played on Friday night did come out clean.
Yeah, I have a theory about Dan Campbell. I think he errs on the side of he's very cautious about injuries. He's going to hold a bunch of guys out on a Monday or Wednesday, but probably Monday now, because Wednesday is the day that you practice. But he's going to hold a whole lot of people out because he just wants to make sure he's more about health than getting another rep in. And there's other coaches like, damn it, I don't care how injured you are, you're practicing.
Right.
But, you know, as a guy that played in the league, I think he sees it a different way. I'd rather have my guys healthy rather than having that extra practice time. And I want to tell you about an old-time coach.
Love it.
His name was Ray Perkins. Ray Perkins was the coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. In the heat of the summer, he used to do 3-a-days. And guess what happened in that team? Middle of the season, they had no legs. Even before the season started, they pissed at their coach. Why are we doing 3-a-days? So you can be a hard ass and grind your team, or you can back off and say, hey, fellas, I'm going to get you through this. Trust me. We're going to have the right amount of practice, the right amount of rest. And so I like the way that Dan Campbell approaches this. I don't care if a dude can't play on Wednesday, or you can't practice on Wednesday, or in this case, Monday. Hold them out. Make sure they're ready for Sunday. Or the Lions now, who are playing on Thursdays and Mondays and Saturdays and all this kind of stuff now.
And one of the things, too, about, you know, the way preseason is done in and of itself, it feels like during the week, these reps that you're getting against other competition, the Giants were in last week. This week, the Jacksonville Jaguars are coming in. It almost feels like the games don't matter as much, at least to the starters. Now, when you're out there competing for a job, whether it's Dylan Drummond and Chase Cota going for, the final wide receiver job on the team, or Antoine Green, a 7th-round pick, trying to earn the last wide receiver job, yes, those games matter. How you perform under the lights matters in the big stadium as opposed to the practice field. But for these starters, Terry, for a guy like Jared Goff, who did not play, or David Montgomery, or Marvin Jones, or Amon-Ra St. Brown, the reps that you're getting in those individual workouts and those team workouts throughout the week mean every bit as much as game time.
No, not every bit as much. They mean more.
Yeah.
They mean more than the games. Now, if you are a second or third stringer, you're still on audition. You want to show the fans what you can do. You want to get jacked up. But really, if you're a starter, it's like, I want to walk off this field. I don't want to feel any injuries. I want to make sure my bones are okay. The main thing is just to get lathered up a little bit, so that you're not completely stale by sitting for a month waiting for the regular season. You just want to walk out there healthy.
Yeah.
And all these fans look at all this, oh, did you see him? He was a little bit stiff, or he didn't go balls to the wall on this play. Starters don't need to do that. They don't need to show you what you could already know what Aiden Hutchinson can do.
It's almost like spring training, spring training in baseball, where you've got a guy that gives up 4 homers in a preseason game, but he's trying to work on one pitch.
Right.
So he keeps throwing it, right? He keeps throwing that one pitch no matter what, because it doesn't matter. You're just trying to work on what you're trying to work on.
You know what Barry Sanders' line was for every preseason game? 2 carries, 4 yards. If you base it on what Barry did in the game, you would have cut his ass.
He turned out pretty good.
He was a solid back. Yeah. Got a couple
He turned out
couple
pretty
TDs
good.
here and there.
Hey, speaking of Barry, one of his best offensive linemen, Lomas Brown, honored at halftime of this game, or I don't know if it was halftime, but during a commercial break. I want to play for you what the Lions did for Lomas Brown. And again, it just goes back to, Terry, something that you said, about those 90s Lions, right? There was always something amiss. Somebody wasn't trusting somebody, the players, the coaches, the front office, the general managers, the team presidents, the owners. There was always this faction of groups within the Lions organization. There doesn't seem to be that. Everybody seems to be on the same page, and they seem to be doing everything right. Here's what happened during one of the commercial breaks at Ford Field. Lomas Brown in the radio booth.
A lot of these guys get in there and swarm in these guys.
Can you hang with us for a minute? We're going to go to a break here. Rod Wood will be with us when we come back. Great work by that Lions defense. They've got the football back. This is your home for Detroit Lions football.
Well, you guys know when I come here, I like to have surprises. And I always feel like when I'm here, I take over your job as color commentator because you don't get to say anything. So we got something special. We want to show you something on the video board, so pay attention here.
Hey.
Up front, Lomas Brown. The offensive line, Lomas Brown.
Lomas Brown's been there a long time, a good one.
Lomas Brown is one of the best pass protectors I feel in football.
Lomas gets the best out of you. One of the toughest people I've ever played with.
You think about the gritty guys like Lomas. We held one another accountable for high standards, and you had to go out and give your best. You're doing what is necessary to help your teammates get to where you're all trying to go collectively.
There's Lomas Brown right there. Look at this work here. That's really controlling your guy and taking him clear out of the picture.
Lomas and I, we're family. Fierce competitor, extremely hard worker, the nicest guy you ever want to meet in life.
Knocking Green Bay out.
Yeah.
Yes.
He enjoys life. And the way to enjoy life is to get out there and participate in it.
As I bring in my friend Lomas Brown, Big Low.
For somebody who's so vicious on the football field, he just has an absolute heart of gold.
First down, Detroit Lions.
Ben Johnson, you are my hero. Yeah, baby. Yeah.
Welcome to the Pride of the Lions.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my. Oh, man. Oh, my goodness, man. Oh. Wow. Oh. Oh, my goodness, man. Hey. Appreciate it, man. Oh, my goodness. Oh my God.
Well,
wow.
Welcome back to Ford Field, where this wasn't just any commercial break.
So while you were away on commercial break, we just told Lomas that we're inducting him into the Pride of the Lions here at the stadium. Well-deserved and probably long overdue.
Oh, wow.
So big fella, on October 30th against the Raiders in our homecoming game, your name's going to go up on the wall here.
Wow. Unbelievable, man. This has been an unbelievable year for me. It really has.
Woody, Rod, great stuff. Keep
All
it
right.
going. The excitement around this team right now feels great.
All right. Thanks, guys.
All right, there he is, Lions
Appreciate
President
you.
Rod Wood, who is here to announce that Lomas is going into the Pride of the Lions come October.
Against the Raiders. Yep, they let the what did he say? Lomas Brown said, they let me valet park today, so I should have known something was going on. That's what, and again.
No, Lomas, they let me valet
right.
park.
First of all, anybody that's ever met Lomas Brown, you are the most important person in the room when you're in the room with Lomas, because he treats you, I've never seen a professional athlete like, he just treats you like you are the most important person in the room. Just Lomas Brown is absolutely one of the best, if not the best. Terry, I know you've known him a long time. Just what do you think this means to Lomas? And of course, not only that, but just the fact that the Lions, just seem to be doing everything right now anyway.
And let me tell you, one thing that upset Lomas, and it upset me too about the Lions, was he wanted to help. After he retired, and he played in New York, he wanted to come back here and he wanted to mentor the younger linemen. The Lions at the time were okay with it. They got him coaches' shirts, and they told him when he was supposed to start. And then somebody changed their mind. So then he went and mentored DeBrickashaw Ferguson. So he was upset about this. And also, Lomas and I had a conversation 3 weeks ago. Somebody came up with the all-time Detroit Lions team, and they had Lomas at right tackle. I'm like, dude, you were left tackle. Well, they put Lou Kriegmeyer at left tackle.
Who?
Left tackle, Lou Kriegmeyer.
I never even heard of him.
He played in the 50s.
Okay.
And I think he was like 125 pounds.
Right.
And Lomas was okay with it. He said, "Oh, T, I hear what you're saying, but he was pretty good." I said, "Lomas, he weighed 130 pounds."
Right.
If we were having a pick your team and we have to play for real, we'd have you out there before 125-pound Lou Kriegmeyer. But he said, yeah, but it's different eras. So he was trying to justify and stuff, but then he finally admitted, yeah, he probably was better than them. Because when you look at Lomas as a player, he's tall. He had a good punch. He
Good
had
reach,
long arm, good reach, and he punched you right in the throat, knock your ass down. And the other thing that he always tried to do, whenever Barry Sanders carried the ball, Lomas would run as fast as he can after Barry was tackled, and he wanted to pick him up because he said, I owe this man this because of all he does for this team. And so that was his own personal. Of course, he couldn't do it all the time because sometimes Barry would gain 80 yards and Lomas was tired by the time, so he couldn't pick him up. But he always tried to pick up Barry Sanders.
That's awesome, man. I'm just so happy for Lomas. Well-deserved. He absolutely should be in the Hall of Fame, and we said this a lot with the Tigers, too, and I know you're in on this conversation. Lomas Brown is a Pro Football Hall of Famer, and if they're not going to induct him into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, the Detroit Lions do not need the Hall of Fame to validate one of their own. You put him in that Pride of the Lions. Same with the Tigers. The Tigers did not need baseball to put Lou Whitaker in the Hall of Fame in order to honor their own and put Whitaker on that wall with number 1 and retire that jersey. It just feels like this is the right thing to do to put Lomas's name in that building.
Yeah, he should be. He was a great left tackle. Penei Sewell wants to be Lomas Brown. Taylor Decker wants to be Lomas Brown when it's all said and done. But and he played on the offensive line. It wasn't that great. That Kevin Glover, who was very good, but the other pieces all right. But Lomas Brown made sure whoever's quarterback, their blind side was protected.
Right. No doubt about it. Guys, we're going to get to what happened on the field, including Jameson Williams. What did you make of him? Really, first time you really saw him with that amount of action in an NFL game, albeit a preseason one. Brian Baldinger has some thoughts. He broke down Jamo's tape. Also, Terry, you wrote about him on woodwardsports.com. We'll get to all that coming up next. But first, a message from Randy Wise.
How would you like to see famous athletes like Jim Harbaugh, Darren McCarty, and Ryan Edwards play golf with just some average Joes? Thanks to the Randy Wise Automotive and Woodward Sports, you will be able to do just that. It's the Randy Wise Celebrity Golf Tour. Make the wise choice and pay attention to Woodward Sports for more information.
We are the network for Detroit by Detroiters. Welcome to the Woodward Sports Network. How would you like to win not one, but two vehicles of your choice? One for you and one for your wife, your girlfriend, or your best bud. Get to Lady Jane's today for an award-winning haircut and automatically enter for your chance to win. Courtesy of Les Stanford Buick GMC of Ferndale. Lady Jane's, open 7 days a week, walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome. We aren't quite sure if they consume more beer or sports. Either way, the heavyweights are here. Live on Woodward Sports, daily 5 to 7 p.m.
How would you like to win a $100,000 Vegas getaway? Take your closest friends and live it up in the city that never sleeps. It's the Cintron Energy. Drink it and live it. Purchase a 24-pack today to enter and win the $100,000 Vegas getaway at drinkcintron.com/Vegas. And buy your Cintron at your local Meijer. Cintron, the healthier energy drink that tastes great and for the choice of people that desire to look good, feel great, and be the best versions of themselves. drinkcintron.com/Vegas. That website again, drinkcintron.com/Vegas.
Subscribe to Woodward Sports, our YouTube channel. Hit that like button as well. If you are watching on YouTube right now, if you can go ahead and hit that like button for us. Let's see if we can get to over 100 likes by the end of this segment. It helps YouTube push our content out to more people. We'd certainly appreciate that. Ryan Ermanni and Terry
100
Foster.
likes. Let's get 500 likes.
Well, let's get 500 by the end of the show.
Okay,
let's do that. Absolutely.
I didn't come in here for nothing.
No, I know. Just like the fact that T-Foss is here alone. Braylon out today. Tom Mazaway out today as well. I want to get to what happened on the field. When you look at the box score, not very exciting. And look, Terry, let's be honest. He has turned into a little bit of a lightning rod for Detroit Lions fans, for Detroit sports fans. There was one guy people really wanted to see on Friday night, and that was Jameson Williams. If you look at the stat line, 2 catches, 18 yards, a drop, 7 targets. Terry, what did you see?
I saw a guy who's still developing. I saw a guy that has so much potential, and I know the P word is looked down upon some people, but this guy is a game changer. He has the potential to be a game changer, and but he's still developing. He's still trying to figure his game out. And the other thing, I don't care what anybody says, I think the comments by the fans in the media is affecting him. And we saw it with Eric Ebron. I'm not saying Eric Ebron was the best tight end in the world, but you could tell from social media and the way that he played that the comments affected him. And I would hate to see a guy like Jameson have to go somewhere else to show us what he can do. And I have a piece of advice for the little Lion fans: just get off his ass. Everything that he's done has been little minor BS, and you're the ones that have turned it into a mountain. For instance, when he liked
the Lamar
Jackson come here, it's a big deal.
I did
Twitter,
too.
I know you did, but Twitter is not real. Was it that serious? No.
I think Jared Goff would have liked it at one point, probably. Maybe not, but you know what I'm saying.
Right. Then the gambling thing, to me, the gambling thing is stupid. If you've been in a NFL, MLB, NBA locker room, they're gambling all the time. Yes, they're not betting on games, but they're betting on pool, they're betting on cards, they're betting with each other on games or who's going to win or who's going to score 50 points or whatever. I think the NFL erred from this standpoint. They're supposed to make things crystal clear about what you can and can't do, and they normally do that. But in this case, lots of players didn't know that you cannot bet on non-NFL games in your hotel room. I'd be willing to bet that most players didn't know that. Now, back in the day when I first started covering the league, they would tell you everything over and over and over again. This time they didn't do it. And then to give this man 6 games for gambling on, I don't know who it was, maybe
it was
Alabama,
a college game, yeah.
Georgia, whatever, in his hotel room, that's not right. That's not Jameson Williams being reckless and saying, I'm going to do what the hell I want to do because I'm young, I got money, and screw everybody. That was a guy who's thinking, okay, I'm not betting on the NFL. I'm in my hotel room. What's the big deal? And I'm on my phone. So we made a big-ass deal about that. And he dropped the pass. Yep, he dropped it. I didn't like it. But let's not make that, oh, he's a bust. Because the way I looked at, yeah, he did drop the pass, but the 2-point conversion, that was a pretty tough catch. And he had to get loose, and he had to make an over-the-shoulder. That was a pretty good catch. So he shows his potential. I say, get off his ass.
Do you think he's
let him play?
Do you think he's fragile, Terry? I mean, I've never met Jameson Williams. I don't know Jameson Williams. Do you think he's fragile?
I'm not going to use the word fragile, but he's letting things get to him. Mm-hmm. And so he's got to learn how to do it.
He's still a young man. He's still a young man.
The one thing Jameson Williams has to learn, to be professional. The nitpicky stuff that he did it himself. But that's a guy who's not professional. A professional is not liking Lamar Jackson come here. A professional doesn't bet on a college game, even in his hotel room. A professional knows how to act. A professional makes the fundamental plays. A professional doesn't allow fans to get in his head. So above learning the plays, learn how to get loose, learn his quarterbacks, main thing he needs to learn how to do is be professional.
And, look, I think that Jameson Williams is in a completely unwinnable situation this preseason. Because, one, for people like us not to talk about him like this, he's got to be perfect. 7 targets in the game on Friday night. People would like to see 7 catches, 100 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, right.
And if he
and one be the game winner.
Yes, exactly. And if he did catch 7 balls for 112 yards and 2 touchdowns, you know what people would say at that point? Doing it against second and third strings. So he's in an unwinnable situation right now. I feel like the goal for Jameson Williams, and I'm sure it is, has just got to be leave the noise over here and just work on your game. Just continue to work, and then in week 7, when you can come out and play again, be ready to go.
He can win. Here's the way he can win.
Okay.
Be a better player today than he was yesterday.
Yes.
So that's his own personal thing. Is forget the fans, forget us, forget the media. If he is a better player and feels better about himself, that's his wins, and that's what he needs to do. He needs to be held accountable for his coaches, his teammates, his community, his family. So
and not only that, I'll say this too about Dan Campbell. Part of his job is to balance challenging the player and taking care of the player too. And I do think it was a little bit of a flub by Dan Campbell to come out and say that he's never going to be an elite pass catcher.
Yeah.
I mean, for Dan Campbell, first of all, you know there's a good portion of the fans that are growing impatient with Jameson Williams. And then to hear Dan Campbell say that, and then to have him come out and drop what was a ball direct, like probably Nate Sudfeld's best thrown ball of his life.
Right. Dan Campbell doesn't know that.
You know?
He doesn't know that yet. I mean, this is a work in progress.
Yeah.
And then it adds fuel to the haters out there. That's how Dan Campbell said that.
Exactly.
So, every time he drops the ball, I'm going to be on his ass.
Guys, Brian Baldinger, and one of the things we'll do throughout the football season is Brian Baldinger does these incredibly well done videos, breakdowns of players. He calls them Baldy's breakdowns. He puts them on Twitter. More often than not, they're less than 30 seconds long, but he'll break down a player. He did take Jameson Williams and broke down some of the things that he did in the game, and boy, is he a fan of Jameson Williams. Take a look.
Giants line up in a disguised cover 3 look. It's really man coverage. His free safety's a rat. But here's Jameson Williams. Like, this is what speed does. Now, Sudfeld put it right on him. Against the rookie, Deonte Banks, he's just got to catch it. The ball was well thrown, and you see the speed. Now you watch the speed here against the other rookie corner of the Giants, Trey Hawkins. Speed out. The respect he gets. All right. Body slam by Hawkins. Good matchup. Hawkins is big. He's got great speed. Now, this one right here, this is just a drag, okay? He's trying to get lost between the coffee grinds and the eggshells, and he does it, and then he bursts. And Sudfeld puts him on him for a 2-point conversion. J-Mo can change the game. Fun watching him run. He just runs at a different speed than everybody else.
And that's something, and it's that speed, Terry, that is gonna kill. Speed kills. And he makes plays like this. People forget about the drops when you make plays like that.
No one has mentioned the 2-point conversion. If you're going to mention the drop, you
How
should
about
mention
that?
that too.
Right.
But, when I first started covering football, I feared big teams. Then over the progress of watching more and more football, I'm like, I fear the teams with speed. And I've heard this too many times from the Detroit Lions. Well, we got to take what the defense gives us. And that's what they did for decades and decades and decades. But other teams are like, hey, screw this. We're going to put our speed demon out there. You got to adjust to us. So now if Jameson Williams works out and he gets himself together and he becomes a professional, guess what? Other teams are going to have to adjust to the Detroit Lions. Because as it stands now, they can have a great offense without him, but teams already know they got to stack the box at some point and stop that run. They know they have to outperform that offensive line. They don't have to worry about deep. Now, if he's in the lineup and he's playing well, then it's like one more thing they have to worry about.
No doubt
And
about
that's
it.
going to make the Lions even more dangerous.
They will be dangerous, absolutely. Guys, I want to take a look at the Lions' first-round draft picks when we come back. Jameer Gibbs, Jack Campbell, how did they fare? And Brian Branch, oh, did he lay the wood? A lot of people feel good about the Lions' defensive rookies. We'll talk about them coming up. But first, a message from Lady Jane's. Haircuts for Men. Walk in any Lady Jane's for an award-winning haircut experience. Automatically enter for your chance to win not one but 2 vehicles of your choice, courtesy of Les Stanford Buick GMC of Ferndale. That's right, 2 cars, one for you, one for your wife, your girlfriend, your son, your daughter, your mom, your dad, your aunt, your uncle, whoever you want to give it to. All you have to do is get your haircut at Lady Jane's. It's open 7 days a week. You can walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Can't get enough Woodward Sports content? Head over to woodwardsports.com right now for up-to-date sports articles and great entertainment news. We have the best writers, bloggers, and coverage all at your fingertips. Head to woodwardsports.com right now to experience all Woodward Sports has to offer.
Abby is a college student struggling to study for her big exam. Then, she discovered Syntron, a healthy way for her to stay awake and focus. Jennifer frequently has chaotic days like this until she gets online, orders some Syntron, and finds her groove. April visited her local grocery store, purchased a case of Syntron, and entered to win the Syntron 100K Vegas giveaway. Pick up your case of Syntron today at any Meijer location or visit drinksyntron.com/Vegas and enter for the 100K Vegas giveaway.
Woodward Avenue, the first paved road in America. Woodward Sports, the first sports network born in Detroit and made for Detroit.
Want to tell you about Outdoor Equipment Company. Your childhood may be over, but playtime is not. Outdoor Equipment Company, your source for outdoor power equipment, sales, service, parts, carrying top brands such as Bad Boy, LS Tractor, Steel, and more. They service the Great Lakes region with locations in Metro Detroit and Greater Lansing. For more, visit OutdoorEquipCo.com. OutdoorEquipCo.com, your power equipment playground. Ryan Ermanni, Terry Foster in the house. Braylon out today. Tom Mazaway out today. The chair looks so sad, Terry, when Tom's not here. It just looks like a sad chair.
It does look. The pillows look real sad. You know what I call those?
It's even crooked.
Those are the Tom Mazaway hemorrhoid pillows.
Yeah, he's got to sit on the pillow.
Right.
I mean, he needs to sit on the pillow.
That's his little booster seat because he's such a chubby little guy.
Oh, we love you, Maz.
But he's cute.
We love you, Maz. Hey, just before we get to the first round picks, the rookies, how about Dylan Drummond? A lot made of Dylan Drummond this offseason so far through training camp. Dylan Drummond, 2 catches for 12 yards, 4 targets. It would have been a nice catch. He dropped a pass. I don't know if it's technically called a drop, but he didn't go and get one. Antoine Green, the 7th round pick, 3 catches, 36 yards. Chase Cota fighting for a job at wide receiver, 4 catches, 60 yards. Offensively, Terry, a lot of people excited to see Jahmyr Gibbs. I want to show you what Brian Baldinger had to say about the Lions rookie running back.
Jahmyr Gibbs played 18 snaps last night. Let's look at 3 of them, okay? Watch this ability to just skip right on that Lions logo in that Honolulu blue shirt and just make people miss. And then we knew they could do this. It's one of the reasons why he's there. Here's Nate Sudfeld getting chased, right? Free hitter coming at him, and there's Gibbs, making himself available. And then just a catch, all right, secured. And then on this play here, when Tremont Fox beats the left tackle here and Sudfeld gets crushed and Jason Pinnock intercepts it, here comes Gibbs. Maybe this was his best play. Sometimes you just find out guys are just football players. Just pick them up and put them down and plant them into that turf at Ford Field. Little Jahmyr Gibbs.
And that was Brian Baldinger with his Baldy's breakdowns on Jahmyr Gibbs. This is a player that I think a lot of us are really excited to see, Terry. I mean, his name came out of nowhere in the NFL draft. In the weeks leading up to the NFL draft, I'm not sure people were considering him to be a top 10 pick, top 12 pick, but he was. And I think a lot of people are very high on the Lions rookie.
And they should be. I mean, I don't view him as a running back.
I don't either.
He is a running back. He's a slot receiver. He's an athlete.
Weapon 1.
Right.
QB1, RB1, weapon 1.
I think when you look at college recruiting, they put wide receiver, running, and then they have dudes that are athletes. Mm-hmm. Athletes, you just put somewhere and have them do their thing. Be an athlete. And I think this is what Gibbs is going to be. One of the things that the Lions want to do is they don't want to just get good football players. Oh, here's a fine running back. Here's a good wide receiver. Here's a nice offensive tackle. They're looking for guys who are difference makers. In the NFL, in particular, you can't win everything unless you have difference makers. Unless you have that wide receiver that nobody can cover. Unless you have that running back who's in his prime that is very elusive. Of course, you need other things, but you need playmakers. I'm going to go back to the great Wayne Fonts, who always said, we played a good game today. After they lose, but we didn't make plays. We didn't have playmakers today. And playmakers is so important. Playmakers makes the other team go, okay, what are we going to do? This dude's having a game. He's having a day, and ain't nothing we can do about it. That's a playmaker. That's why you take a chance on J-Mo. That's why you draft Gibbs. And Sam Laporta.
Yeah.
Sam Laporta might be that guy where, okay, they got another tight end, so what? No, Sam Laporta. I'm going to make this prediction here, and I want you to remember this because you're going to deny me ever saying
Okay,
Sam
here we go.
Laporta is going to play some quarterback in the next 2 years for the Detroit Lions. Watch.
Quarterback.
All
right, let's write it down here.
I didn't say
251.
cornerback. I didn't say scat. He's going to play some
251 Monday,
quarter.
August 14th. You got 2 years. Your clock starts now.
Okay. He's going to play some quarterback in the next 2 years.
You know, we just talked about J-Mo in the drop. Laporta dropped a 4th down ball right in his hands.
Right.
You know, we don't hear that. That wasn't talked a lot on social media. You know, it's almost like you pick and choose who you want to go after. You know what I mean? You pick and choose which guy we're going to put the pressure on and which guy we're going to give a free pass to.
Well, you're giving a free pass to Laporta because you've had guys say he's going to be great.
Yeah.
Also, he was not drafted in the top 10 picks like Eric Ebron.
Right.
So you're going to back off him a little bit and let him develop. Let him do his thing, give him time, which you should do. But in this time of social media and fan impatience, that's almost impossible to do. But it's something that, you know, Sam Laporta is in a much better position than Hawkinson, Eric Ebron, simply because he wasn't drafted in the first round. So we're going to back off of him and say, okay, let him develop because we know it's going to happen.
Terry, I said a couple of weeks ago that I think this, not a couple of weeks ago, I think it was on last Monday at this time, that the depth chart that the Lions put out for their first preseason game, 1 through 90, was as deep as we've ever seen a Detroit Lions preseason depth chart. You've been around. What do you think of the Lions' talent pool as a whole? I mean, if you look at this 53-man roster, I mean, guys like Julian Okora are probably going to get cut.
Right.
You know, I mean, last year or 2 years ago, this guy's starting for you.
Right. It used to be when you looked at the bottom of the roster, you're like, oh, this dude's a scrub. What's he even doing here?
Right.
But when you're talking about, Okora could be cut. And I don't know how much, what's his name, Elam? I don't know how much time he's going to get. So you have built a roster. Now, the way this is going to play out is every time the Lions had an injury, it would affect the team.
Right.
And then fans are like, our starting cornerback was out. Ooh, that's why we didn't win. Well, if you're developing a team like Brad Holmes is doing, it's going to be next man up.
Right.
It's never next man up for the Lions. It's like, oh, shoot, he out. We in trouble.
And even like, look, you were doing a show with Brandon a couple of weeks ago. Not your son, Brandon, but Brandon Kool-Aid. And you guys were doing kind of a Mount Rushmore of if you had to pick a face today of the Detroit Lions, let's say, you go with Aiden Hutchinson. Look, if Aiden Hutchinson, who has a foot, nothing major, has a little bit of a
well, that's what coaches do. He's got a back, he's got a foot, he's got a knee.
I hesitate to call it an injury, but it wasn't enough to keep him out of practice today, or at least that was the information that Dan Campbell gave prior to practice before we jumped on the air here. But if Aiden Hutchinson goes down for a couple of games, you know what? Season's not over.
That's
you
right.
know? I mean, look, season's not over. I mean, just look at the guys that Charles Harris, Josh Paschal, James Houston, Romeo Okora. I mean, I just named 4 guys for you that can fill his spot and do a pretty darn good job.
Right. You just got the Okora family who could help you out. Forget about everybody else.
Does Romeo and Julian have any more siblings? But again, this roster is so deep, and one injury, even heaven forbid, even if it was Goff, I mean, now at least you've got a guy like Teddy Bridgewater.
Right. And Brad Holmes recognized that. He must have gone to the bar, sobered up a little bit, and said, okay, we can't have Nate Sudfeld as the number 2 guy. We've got all this depth all around. If something happens to Jared Goff, then we can't have Nate Sudfeld going out there with his 2 interceptions.
No doubt, no doubt. One of the injuries today, too, that Dan Campbell talked about was Mohamed Ibrahim. Big Ten country may know him from his time at Minnesota Golden Gophers. He's going to be out a couple of days, which if you're trying to fight for a job, being out a couple of days right now is not very good. Mohamed Ibrahim, I think, is a lot, was... I'm not writing his story. I'm not writing his obituary yet, but he was a guy that intrigued many when he signed on as a practice squad player to be a 3rd or even 4th running back on this team.
Yeah, I actually thought he was going to contribute this year because when you look at the way the lines are structured, Ibrahim makes more sense than Gibbs because there's going to be some games where, okay, the Lions are up 7. What are they going to do? They're going to pound the ball. So I could see Ibrahim being that guy, that finisher, where you don't want to give the ball up for the next 4 or 5 minutes, so you're just going to feed him if Montgomery is not available.
Or you put them both in. You put Ibrahim and Montgomery, right?
Yeah, you could. You could just pound people. I could see him in that role because one thing about Ibrahim, he doesn't go backwards.
Right.
You stack him up, he's still going to fall forward for a couple yards.
Yeah. Something we'll keep an eye on here as we get through this week of training camp. Jacksonville coming in midweek to do some individual workouts. I believe Wednesday, Thursday, they'll be here doing the workouts with the Detroit Lions. Friday will be a day off, and then Saturday at 1 o'clock at Ford Field, Lions and Jags in preseason game number 2 of the season.
Should be a dandy.
Of 3. That's right. Hey, guys, going to take a break. Dan Campbell did talk about Teddy Bridgewater. We'll get you that next. But first, a message from Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac Buick GMC. Les Stanford has expanded into Ferndale, a trusted name for over 50 years. Les Stanford Buick GMC offers the same great service that customers have come to know. You can go check them out on Woodward, just south of 9 Mile. And, of course, looking for a Chevy or a Cadillac, Les Stanford in Dearborn, where they have been for over 55 years. You can find the brand you want, all GM brands under one umbrella. LesStanford.com, LesStanford.com. Find new roads.
Can't get enough Woodward Sports content? Head over to woodwardsports.com right now for up-to-date sports articles and great entertainment news. We have the best writers, bloggers, and coverage all at your fingertips. Head to woodwardsports.com right now to experience all Woodward Sports has to offer.
Big Boy Strawberry Fest has officially arrived, and we're here to show you the very best flavors of the season. Satisfy your sweet tooth with our deep-fried vanilla Oreos, strawberry hot fudge cake, and a slice of our classic strawberry pie. But that's not all. Cool off on a refreshing summer splash salad, or savor the flavors of our chicken Caesar wrap and strawberry bacon chicken wrap. And for breakfast lovers, don't miss out on our strawberry hotcakes or our mouth-watering red velvet waffle. Strawberry Fest is something for everyone. Celebrate the sweet season with us at Big Boy.
Woodward Avenue, the first paved road in America. Woodward Sports, the first sports network born in Detroit and made for Detroit. You have an opinion? Make sure it's seen and heard. Corner, jumper, Tweet us, hop on the YouTube chat, slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media.
He is something else. How big is that?
All of Detroit's sports teams live on Woodward. All of Detroit's sports coverage lives on Woodward Sports. Driving the best in Detroit sports coverage. The only sports network in Detroit that starts with a W. You know, because we win. Woodward Sports, Detroit's winning sports network.
Hour number 2 of the program. Look at that, Woodward Sports Network. on a Monday. Lions Victory Monday. Can we call it that, Terry Foster?
We cannot.
We cannot. We are not allowed to call it Victory Monday.
It wasn't a victory. The team is still 0-0.
Yes, they are.
A lot of preseason games are decided by guys who are not even going to be on the team.
No doubt.
Adrian Martinez. How many drives is he going to lead during the regular season?
Listen, I thought Adrian Martinez certainly outplayed Nate Sudfeld.
And guess what's going to happen to Martinez? He's going to get fewer snaps.
Yeah, I know.
So that's how important these preseason games are.
It is. So Teddy Bridgewater in now. He'll get some playing times this week against the Jags, and Adrian Martinez will lose out on those snaps. Can't figure that out. I don't know.
Yeah, you can figure it out. These games don't mean anything. Dude.
Well,
Can you get
again?
Can we agree on that?
Yes,
Come on now.
yes, we can.
All right.
But I mean, to these individual players, I would much rather see Adrian Martinez than Nate Sudfeld.
They've decided that Sudfeld is going to be the number 2 or number 3 guy, and it doesn't matter what Adrian Martinez does. He's going
He's not going to be number 2 because that's going to be Teddy Bridgewater.
Well, technically, I know that, but technically they're battling for the number 2 position.
Yeah.
So, out of respect, I have to say that.
There you
But we
go.
know he's going to be the number 3 guy.
Right. Amen to that. Guys, welcome in. If you are watching on YouTube, go ahead and hit that like button for us. Let's see if we can get to over 200 likes by the end of this segment. T. Foss wants 500 likes by the end of the show.
I'm greedy.
Yes, I love it too. Welcome in. Braylon is out today, and Tom Masway is out today. We got JB. We got Parker. Practice going on right now out in Allen Park. I think maybe it just finished up, but there was a little bit of a flu bug going around with some of the players. I don't want to call it a flu bug. Dan Campbell called it a bug. So whatever that means, I call it a flu bug. Maybe that's
What other bugs can you catch
I don't
besides
know.
the flu bug?
I don't. The COVID bug.
That's possible.
The COVID bug.
But you can't catch
a viral bug.
Those aren't contagious.
No,
I don't think.
well,
I think you eat something or you can't spread it to somebody else.
Well, we hope not. Dan Campbell did talk about Teddy Bridgewater, though. First time he's been on the field in Allen Park as a participant. Here's Dan Campbell talking about his new second-string quarterback.
And let him go through some individual, get him a few reps, and then Jacksonville, let's get him worked in a little bit and just, I'm just going to gauge where he's at, where he feels, what it looks like, and then we'll make a determination at the end of the week. But our plan is to get him going in practice this week.
How quickly, we watch the show Quarterback. I don't know if you had
I do watch that.
And when you look at a guy like Kirk Cousins, okay, starting quarterback for a number of years. He's been with the team for multiple years in Minnesota, and he sits there and studies the play calls for the team that he's been with for multiple years. How quickly can a guy like Teddy Bridgewater or whoever come into an organization, pick up a playbook, and then just start playing fast? How long does that take? Because it feels like it's a daunting task, for lack of a better way to say it.
Well, it's going to be more than 4 days. Teddy Bridgewater is going to stink on Saturday. The quarterback position is so complicated. You have 11 guys trying to kill you. They're trying to also switch things up defensively, even though they don't do it as much during the preseason. But it's a complicated thing. So he's not going to be good Saturday. So what you got to do is let it play out the whole preseason. And let him go from there.
And not only just understand the language, the play calls, but then to understand what the actual language means. Because it is like learning a foreign language, how these guys speak. Some of these play calls are like, 12 seconds long if you had to read them all out,
And then you have to say them in order. Because if you say it in a different order, that means a different play.
Right? So there does seem to be a lot of love for Teddy Bridgewater. And again, Terry, this is exactly what this team needed, though, because you are one play away from the season being over. And I'm not even sure Teddy Bridgewater is a guy that can lead you to a Super Bowl, but he's a whole hell of a lot better than anything that you ever had here in years past. A lot of people were hoping that the Lions would have done this some years ago with a guy like Matt Stafford, and not to compete for a starting job, but somebody just to be there and somebody to apply a little bit of pressure, right?
The Lions, yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. But the Lions did not want Stafford feeling any heat.
Talk about fragile.
Right, yeah.
Right.
From a second-string
Right.
quarterback. You notice, I think the guy, he had like John Kitna as a backup.
And Dan Orlovsky.
Right. Yeah, 13-step Dan.
Right.
That's not a threat. But I would say that Teddy Bridgewater is the best backup quarterback the Lions have had since Eric Kramer. Right. And Eric Kramer probably should have been the starter back then, but by the time the Lions figured that out, Eric Kramer was so pissed off with the organization, he left for the Bears.
Do you see many similarities from this team and that 91 team? As we mentioned, Eric Kramer, just the name Eric Kramer jogged me to think about the 91 team. And obviously that 12-4 mark in 91 was the best record this franchise ever had. The furthest they've ever gone in the postseason in the Super Bowl era was to that NFC Championship game against Washington. And this is probably the most anticipated season in Lions history since 1991.
Right.
Or even, I'm not even sure how people felt in 91 prior to the season, right? I mean, as the season went on, I mean, after the first game, 45-0 loss to Washington, I'm not sure too many people anticipated the Lions were going to reel off, 12 of the next 15 games as wins and then go on to the NFC Championship game. But they did.
I see similarities from the standpoint of you had a gregarious coach. Wayne Fontes was he's not Dan Campbell, but he was saying silly things. You had very good left tackles. I mean, Taylor Decker is very good.
Yes, he absolutely
is. Brown was very good. You had I'm going to call the 91, you had a dynamic running game in Barry Sanders, but you didn't have the offensive line that this team does. I'm trying to think, what other similarities?
Defensively, Benny Blades.
Yeah, Benny Blades was a tough guy who played safety, but then they moved him to linebacker, and he bitched about it.
Yep.
But, the thing that you did in the 90s, you brought in players and then played them out of position, which, I mean, their offensive line, one of the reasons they weren't very good is they would just switch them just like this. This group, where everybody's going to play. Penei Sewell at some point is going to move to left tackle, but that's after Decker retires or signs with another team. But for the most part, everybody is playing their position. Back then, the offensive line was musical chairs except for Lomas Brown and Kevin Glover. So you had that. You had tough defensive tackles back then. Robert Porcher was, he played rush in. Wasn't Aiden Hutchinson, but he was pretty damn good. Secondary, once again, the secondary from the 90s team was frustrated because they were playing out of position. I, as a writer, sometimes made fun of the secondary in the 90s. And I got pulled into a meeting room forcefully, and I think it was William White.
No kidding.
And
35,
said,
number 35,
right,
William White.
I want you to count where I am in as opposed to where the line of scrimmage was. So I counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. They had him 13 yards off the line of scrimmage. And he said, what am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to let people catch passes and I have to try to tackle them. But that's not the way you play. And so, but the reason you had that is because you had Wayne Fontes hiring his brothers as defensive backs coach.
It was my brothers.
It was his brothers. And They didn't know what they were doing, but they were on the payroll, so Wayne didn't have to worry about, giving them an allowance or something. And the thing that I thought was funny, he had two brothers, and then there was Wayne. There was Wayne Fontes. There was one of his brothers was Fontes.
Len Fontes, right?
Len Fontes. The other was Fonches. How do you come from the same family and have three different pronunciations of last names?
So great. Len Fontes. Remember when did Wayne get popped? He had Coke in the car, and it's my brother's.
Right.
Right. It's my brother's. Len Fontes. Oh, my gosh.
Now it's Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell appears like a guy that could get popped for cocaine. But probably Dan Campbell is more likely to be popped for having too many espressos in his in his Starbucks. He's really high wired.
That is incredible stuff. Hey, Parker, do you have the Gabby video?
Yep.
All right, Gabrielle D. Phillips out there at Lions practice today. Here's what she has.
Back out at Allen Park for another day of training camp. I'm Gabrielle D. Phillips with Woodward Sports Network. It's August 14th. We're coming off of the game against the Giants and getting ready for joint practices against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Dan Campbell kicked off today talking about how electric it was at Ford Field over the weekend.
Ought to be a pretty good atmosphere, but my God, I didn't expect that. I don't think any of them did. I mean, that's unbelievable. That's a packed house for a preseason. So it was awesome. I mean, they were using silent count on offense in a preseason game. So
today is the first day that we're going to be seeing Teddy Bridgewater out on the field. Dan Campbell said that he's been studying the playbook. All he has to know is how to switch that terminology around, which he has confidence in his ability to do so. We'll see that chemistry begin to build. And then at the end of the week, Campbell and Holmes will decide whether or not to put him in that game against the Jaguars.
I'm just going to gauge where he's at, where he feels, what it looks like, and then we'll make a determination at the end of the week. But our plan is to get him going in practice this week.
Speaking of quarterbacks, Dan Campbell mentioned that Jared Goff had the intensity that he was looking for him to have during those practices against the Giants, and that consistency is going to do him well throughout the season. There is a bug that the team is dealing with, so you're going to see a couple players missing from the field today, including Breeze, Ibrahim, and Sutton. On a positive note, they are hoping to have Jefferson join the team again this week. Overall, Dan and Brad have both of their eyes open to see who the best man for the job is. The opportunity is out there. Who's going to take it? And that's it for today down at Allen Park. I'm Gabrielle D. Phillips with Woodward Sports Network.
All right, Gab, thank you for that. Lions and Jaguars, Saturday, 1 o'clock. The Jags coming in this week for joint practices. Get more on that in the coming days. Terry, I want to get to the Michigan Wolverines if we can next. The AP poll is out. Jim Harbaugh looks like he is going to be coaching this season fully. No suspension for him coming up. There's going to be a lot of other things, hearings and everything, but it looks like he's going to be coaching those first 4 games. The deal is off. We'll get to that next. And then 2 incredible stories happening in the sports world. Going to get to those as well. But first, a message from Guardian Alarm. They're your local security experts and have been for over 90 years. When you see this black and yellow sign out in front of your house, it tells the bad guys one thing: stay out. Whether you are at home or on the road, they're 24/7 professional monitoring, customized solutions from real experts, and technology backed by people means you are backed by the best. Call this number right here, 1-800-STAY-OUT. That number again, 1-800-STAY out. Stay out. Stay out of here. Tell Woodward Sports Network.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side. Woodward Sports.
The sports marketing agency would not be who we are without great community partners like Higuera Health and Carol Zaniga.
It's an awesome opportunity to partner with your organization. Higuera Health is a comprehensive behavioral health organization. We serve children through older adults with mental health, substance use, and developmental disabilities across Western Wayne counties, and really excited to now be in downriver communities as well. Give us a call at 734-458-4601.
The only sports network in Detroit that starts with a W. You know, because we win. Woodward Sports, Detroit's winning sports network.
big is that?
All of Detroit's sports teams live on Woodward. All of Detroit's sports coverage lives on Woodward Sports. Driving the best in Detroit sports coverage.
AP poll, the Associated Press poll, almost like Christmas back in the day, right? I mean, I loved when these things came out. But the AP Top 25 College Football poll is out. Michigan is number 2, only behind the two-time defending champion Georgia Bulldogs. Ohio State is 3, Alabama 4, LSU 5, USC is 6, Penn State is 7. The Michigan State Spartans not here on this list. Michigan get a lot of respect, Terry. Rightfully so. Two-time defending Big Ten champs. They beat Ohio State 2 years in a row. Dominated Ohio State 2 years in a row, to be quite frank. And we'll see.
Can I say something about?
Please.
You use the word dominate Ohio State, and I'm not going to argue with you on that. But the thing I would say is they broke Ohio State. I mean, they looked at them and said, "Y'all ain't men." Mm-hmm. And I'd never seen that ever happen to Ohio State against anybody. Now, Ohio State has lost games. I've seen them lose games. Mm-hmm. I've seen them get their asses kicked now and then, but I've never saw somebody just break their will and said, "Bitch, get out of here." That's what they did. Didn't they?
God, I love you, man. You're the greatest. With the legend, Terry Foster. Doing a show with the legend, Terry Foster, today. No, that's what they did, and that is why we're talking about a guy. Let's say Ryan Day goes 8-1 in the Big Ten season and improves his record to 40-3 in the Big Ten. They're talking about firing this guy, Terry.
They are.
Talking about firing this guy.
Not only because he's losing to Michigan, but he's allowing Michigan to take away Ohio State's manhood. You can't do this. Is Michigan, Ohio State. I'm the toughest dude here. No, I am. So let's prove it on the field.
Right.
Sometimes, I mean, I know they always want to win, but I think at the end of the day, Wolverines and Buckeyes want to look at each other and say, "You my bitch."
Right. You know,
and that's what Michigan's done to Ohio State the last 2 years.
And it almost feels like the writers in every poll, if they could, they still would put Ohio State above Michigan. But they didn't. I know they didn't. They didn't. But how Ohio State could even be third really bugs me a little bit after just getting manhandled by Michigan on the field in back-to-back years.
Scared the hell out of Georgia.
Yeah, they did, and they could have beaten Georgia. And if you look at that, Parker, throw that up for me again. If you look at this, and we kind of talk about this a lot, and this is where we look at LSU and USC. Although I don't really like USC this year for whatever reason, even though it's they snuck up on a lot of people last year. Georgia, first-year quarterback. Ohio State, first-year quarterback. Alabama, first-year quarterback. Look at that top row, and then you look at Michigan. I mean, they are as experienced as anybody coming back this year. This is not only Jim Harbaugh's best team at Michigan, this is Michigan's best team in 20-plus years.
But you know what? Georgia and Alabama don't need quarterbacks because they beat you with their defensive linemen. They beat you with their running backs. They beat you because of Nick Saban. They beat you because they're stronger, faster, and more physical than you. I mean, the last 2 times Michigan played Georgia, or Michigan supposedly had the best offensive line in the nation. Georgia manhandled them. Yeah. You know, moved them around like shopping carts. So, you know, there's 3 teams in football who don't need quarterbacks: Georgia, Alabama, and the San Francisco 49ers. Because we're just gonna beat your ass.
Well, San Francisco might need a quarterback after Trey Lance this weekend. Yikes. Boy, is he bad. That's another story.
He's still going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, that's right.
Still going to be a threat.
That's right. That is true. Terry, I want to ask you about Cheeseburger Gate, which seems like the NCAA would like you to believe it's more than just about a cheeseburger. But
it is more than a cheeseburger. Will you stop it?
It is. As the guest, please tell me. This, to me, is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. if he can't buy the kid a cheeseburger,
God,
right?
I can't believe you're talking
Listen,
this bull.
listen to me. If he can't buy the kid a cheeseburger, then the lie about who buys the cheeseburger,
okay, or
he misremembered who paid the bill.
Okay, they said they talked to recruits during a dead period. They looked at recruiting or something about
on a Zoom?
huge Zoom call when you weren't supposed to during COVID. They did like 4 or 5 different things. But y'all Michigan people, all you can think about is the sixth thing. He bought somebody a cheeseburger.
You know what this feels like to me, Terry?
Or then he lied. Or he disremembered.
You know what this feels like to me, Terry? This feels like Jameson Williams gambling $50 on a college football game in a team hotel. He's getting 6 games. That's what it feels like. Some of these rules are so dumb. You've got players in the NFL. One, I think it was Alvin Kamara, who got arrested for battery, who got 3 games. But Jameson Williams bets less than $100 in a team hotel on college football, and he gets 6 games. You've got millions of dollars being tossed at athletes, at these high school athletes and their parents and jobs and this, that, and the other thing. College football, college athletics has turned into a joke. You've got, I forget who the player was. It just said somebody offered him 6 figures. God, who was it? Somebody offered him $1.5 million to leave. Tunga Vailoa from Maryland.
To his brother,
Yeah, to his brother said, I had SEC teams offer me $1.5 million to leave Maryland. And the NCAA doesn't, that's okay. That's okay. But Jim Harbaugh can't do push-ups on a Zoom with a high school player. Like that is why.
Was he punished for that? Or did people just dog him for that?
That's one of the allegations. That's
Okay.
one of the push-ups on a Zoom.
One of many.
Push-ups. Okay, push-ups on a Zoom. Buying a cheeseburger.
You and the cheeseburger, man. I just can't believe this.
But that is one of the violations. He bought the cheeseburger and then lied about it. Allegedly lied about it. So I'm sorry if I'm just like, if I couldn't care less about these allegations. Push-ups on a Zoom, buying a cheeseburger, or making a phone call.
How was Michigan punished?
Well, apparently there's a 4-game suspension that was trying to be worked out that now the NCAA is like, no, it felt like a Hunter Biden plea deal where we've offered you a plea deal and now we're going to take the plea deal off the table. This is not enough.
Right. You know what it seems like to me? The NCAA looked at it and said, okay, we're suspending him for 4 games against the Sisters of the Poor. How the hell is that punishing Harbaugh? How is that punishing Michigan? You know what? No offense. You're a fine guy, and I'm sure you know enough about football. You could coach Michigan those first 4 games. They're going to win them in a blowout.
I fully agree with you, and I would love to be able to do that. It just, I think I hate the rules more than anything else. When you've got all this poaching going on, these players being able to go wherever, you've got a starting quarterback, I think at Pitt, that is on his 4th team that he's quarterbacked. And the money that he's gotten everywhere else. And you're worried about talking to a recruit while doing push-ups on a Zoom or buying a cheeseburger. So it is about a cheeseburger. It's about your dumb rules.
Wasn't punished.
Not yet.
They did not. They're not going to punish Michigan. Did they take away scholarships?
Not yet.
No. Did they fire anybody? No. Are they going to say, hey, Jim Harbaugh, you can't coach against Ohio State?
No. They're not going to do that.
There's no punishment.
I think the fake outrage for me is that's what gets to me more than anything. The fake outrage over some of the alleged faux pas, if you will, of this investigation. Who paid for the cheeseburger? Why were you on the Zoom?
Okay, can you stop with the cheeseburger?
No, because that's what it's
Come
about.
on, man.
It's about a cheeseburger.
What kind of cheeseburger was it?
It was a brown jug cheeseburger.
Ooh, that's pretty good.
That's a damn good cheeseburger. Boy, I've had many. let me tell you.
I've only had one. It was very good. Very good.
Guys, I want to go around the NFL, if I could. Just some of the news and notes that happened in the Week 1 preseason. You see all the quarterbacks that played? Shocking number. But first, a message from Big Boy.
Yes, because Strawberry Fest is back at Big Boy. Try the classic breakfast items like the strawberry hotcakes or the mouth-watering red velvet waffles. But if you're not feeling breakfast, try the strawberry bacon chicken wrap or cool off with their refreshing summer splash salad. But don't leave Big Boy without getting yourself some dessert, because they've got the very delicious classic strawberry pie, the deep fried vanilla Oreos, or of course the strawberry hot fudge cakes, and so much more at your local Big Boy.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1. What's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2. Join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3. Bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
It's the Randy Wise Celebrity Golf Tour.
You're a good coach, Tim. Oh, great shot.
Some of the biggest names in Michigan sports, and some, well, not so much.
Oh, yeah, baby. Oh, yeah, baby. Oh, shit. Go in.
Watch episodes at woodwardsports.com.
A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports.
At the Academy of Warren, they have a brand new state-of-the-art sports dome field house that has a regulation basketball court, volleyball court, and soccer field. You can also be using it for 7-on-7 football. K-8 that features AM and PM latchkeys, small classroom sizes, Learning Street, futuristic media center, free breakfast and lunch, Houghton Mifflin curriculum, academic games, and K-8 athletics. Us, the Ermanni and Edwards with Mad Show, will be broadcasting from their carnival on August 24th. Come meet the staff and explore your child's new school. The Academy of Warren is now accepting new enrollments, so go to academyofwarren.net. That website again, academyofwarren.net.
Ryan Ermanni, Terry Foster here on a Monday. Braylon out today. Tom Mazaway out today. Both will be back this week. Everybody watching on YouTube, hit that like button for us. Let's get to over 250 likes by the end of this segment. Helps YouTube push our content out to more people. Coming up on 47,000 subscribers here on this platform, YouTube, as we have a goal. I have a personal goal. I have set this arbitrary goal of 50,000 YouTube subscribers when the Lions and Chiefs play in the opener. So if you could share that YouTube link, tell your friends on your social media pages to subscribe to Woodward Sports, that would be absolutely fantastic. Terry, I wanted to just, before we just move on off the NFL, just from this week 1 of the preseason, Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, Russell Wilson, Derek Carr, Michael Thomas, Justin Fields, Deshaun Watson, Jordan Love, Sam Howell, I get, but some of the names, the big-time names that played in the preseason. Do you like that? Do you not like that? I got that, and I just, how Patrick Mahomes could play even one series, and it was just the one series. But why would you play Patrick Mahomes?
Probably because Patrick Mahomes demanded to play.
He did. He said he likes to play. He said he likes to. It's great in practice, but he likes to get the play in the helmet. He likes to get out there and play one series and just get used to it.
You understand? Jared Goff can't go the whole preseason without playing. He needs his reps. He needs to be out there. So I was a little surprised he didn't play a couple series against the Giants. But I have to believe he'll be out there this week. And then Teddy Bridgewater will come in and play the majority of the first half. And then hopefully Nate Sudfeld is at the bar.
Yeah, the top 6 offensive linemen did not play at all, and I thought what Mahomes said, and Mahomes convinced Andy Reid to let him play. Terry, you're exactly right. He demanded that he played. There's something about the feel of the game flow, and this is the hardest part, I think, if you're a Lions fan, is you see a guy like Patrick Mahomes getting out there to play. They're going to be ready on opening night. They're going to be ready on the season doesn't start in week 4. The season doesn't start in week 6. Season doesn't start in week 2. It starts in week 1, and you've got to be ready to go on that Thursday night. And I'm not insinuating that I know more than Dan Campbell and the players know, but when you see stuff like this, it does feel like you can't play scared. You're football players.
Well, Dan
you cannot
Campbell
play scared.
obviously doesn't know what's happening in September because he's 1-7 in September.
Right.
So if Kansas City smokes
1-11, really? Oh no, 1-7. You're right. 1-7. Yeah.
But if Kansas City smokes the Lions in week 1, you know somebody's going to bring up because they didn't play Jared Goff and Patrick Mahomes was out there. Just it gives you an opportunity to shut the noise up.
Yeah.
So Jared Goff needs to play the next 2 weeks, and you can't keep these guys under bubble wrap.
Right.
And in fact, Jared Goff should demand that he play. If Dan Campbell comes out and says, well, he's not going to play in game 2, Jared Goff said, hey, excuse me, son, I am playing. And I'll maybe it's 1 series. I'd play for 2 series and keep my fingers crossed. But, I mean, you can't be totally rusty in week 1.
Do you have a surprise team this year in the NFL? I've thrown out teams like the Cleveland Browns. I think Deshaun Watson, prior to taking that year and a half off or 2 years, was a top 4 quarterback in this league. If he can return to be that guy, then Cleveland's got something. I look at Denver. Maybe not. Sean Payton and Russell Wilson can find lightning in a bottle. Maybe.
But you know what? Sean Payton has to find lightning in the bottle because he's dogging everybody else, saying how he's better than them, and all these other people don't know what you're talking about. So if Sean Payton doesn't perform or Denver doesn't perform, everybody's going to look at Sean Payton and say, y'all running, flapping your jaws, and look what happened to you. So that forces him to do well.
And then the other team that I look at, too, is the L.A. Rams. I'm really intrigued to see what Matthew Stafford can do this year if healthy.
I think they're done.
Yeah.
They're getting rid of their talent, not bringing it in. I think Stafford is still injured. I think there's something wrong with him. He will never be what he was before. So I'm gonna say no to Cleveland, only because that's a janky franchise. They don't know what they're doing.
Right.
Deshaun Watson, that whole thing. I didn't like the way it was done. I mean, this guy's supposedly sexually molested all these women, and then you make him the highest paid quarterback in the league, and then you make it like all these other teams have to respond with their quarterbacks and having to play them more than they wanted to because of a guy that I thought never deserved to be the highest paid in the league based on allegations and what he did and stuff like that.
Speaking of allegations and stuff like that, 2 of the craziest stories I think in the sports world happened today. We'll get to those next. But first, a message from Fairway Packing Company. For over 60 years, Fairway Packing Company has provided Michigan's finest restaurants, hotels, casinos with prime beef, Wagyu beef, and dry-aged beef. You can experience the Fairway difference for yourself today. Visit the steak shop in Grosse Pointe Woods for grab-and-go steaks. Order online, fairwaypacking.com. Fairwaypacking.com. Source, cut, aged, packed to perfection.
How about that rookie? He is something else. How big is that?
All of Detroit's sports teams live on Woodward. All of Detroit's sports coverage lives on Woodward Sports. Driving the best in Detroit sports coverage.
By By now you know me, Christina Gennari, as the obvious choice in real estate. And you know my website, soldchristina.com, as your #1 resource for buying or selling your home. Myself, along with my amazing staff, pride ourselves on making your home buying and selling experience a relaxing and easy one. Come see why we are the obvious choice. Christina Gennari at soldchristina.com, the obvious choice in real estate.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side. Woodward Sports.
Terry Foster, I'm intrigued by a story regarding...
Before you go on, yes,
please.
You were mentioning Fairway Packing.
Yes.
They have an historical spot in Detroit sports and also in my life.
Okay.
Fairway Packing provided the hamburgers at Lindell AC.
Really?
Yes.
I did not know that.
Johnny, who was one of the owners, created his own recipe of hamburger. It's not just hamburger, it's beef and prime rib and ribeye and stuff like that. So they ground it up. So he had to find a place that could pull it off. He went to Fairway Packing.
Wow. The Lindell AC, I feel, it's almost like folklore, right? I mean, now, like, just one of those special places in the city that, you'll never get a place like that ever again. Like, I was so young. My dad did take me to the Lindell AC.
I was going to ask if you went there because you're a youngster.
Yep, I was really young. I do remember going in. It was almost like a pointed building, right? Like a
right.
But I do. I mean, I remember going there as a kid. And when did it close down? Do you remember?
Was it like 2000?
Damn,
it's been a while.
But even just the athletes themselves. I mean, there's such a difference now between pro athletes and the amount of money they make and just relating to the average Joe.
Yeah, I'm wondering, is there a place in Metro Detroit where you can go in and there's going to be a bunch of athletes there?
God, I don't know. Do you guys have any idea? Do you guys?
And if it is, it's probably roped off where you can't get it. I mean, if you go to a wing place, there's not going to be a bunch of athletes in there. If you go to a sports bar, your favorite sports bar, there's not going to be a bunch of athletes in there. Now, I would go in there sometimes after a game. You see Willie Horton, Gates Brown, Mickey Mantle. And in fact, my mother had an autograph book for me, and I got all these autographs from Mickey Mantle, Willie Horton, Gates Brown, and stuff. There was one page missing.
Wow. What was it?
It was Joe DiMaggio. Somebody ripped the Joe DiMaggio autograph out of my autograph book.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was a little salty about that.
I bet. I would be too, especially now. Terry, I want to get to this story. Saw it earlier today, and a lot of people are going to be talking about it. We all know the story of The Blind Side. There was a movie made about The Blind Side. It was about former NFL player Michael Orr, who was the subject of the Blind Side movie with Sandra Bullock. Well, he now claims that the central element of that story was a lie concocted by the family to enrich themselves at his expense. He alleges that Sean and Lee Toohey never adopted him. Instead, less than 3 months after he turned 18 in 2004, they had him sign a petition. The couple, according to Orr, tricked him into signing a document making them his conservators, which gave them legal authority to make business deals in his name. He petitioned a Tennessee court on Monday. He also alleges that the Tooheys got all the royalties from the film. He has made nothing.
Okay.
Wow.
Wow. That's not right, if that's true. And it probably is. But yeah, that's dirty. No wonder he always hated the movie. And if
he did always maintain that he did not endorse the movie, he hated that movie.
Right. And if you're a journalist, looking for like a puff piece, and you say, "Oh, let me ask you about the Blind Side," he'd yell at you.
Right.
I'm not talking about that crap. But get out of my face.
It does feel like a really sad story. Like you almost want to feel so good that this happened out there, but it didn't. It was almost like, here's this kid, here's this couple. They bring the kid into the home. They help raise the kid, and then the kid turns out to be pretty darn good.
Right.
It's this.
But they knew he was going to be good, so maybe they're just investing in their own
in their
greed.
own future, in their own greed.
Right.
It's just such a shame. So we'll see how this thing turns out. This is not the story that I thought I'd be talking about today. It's so sad. You watch this movie. You asked me this morning or this afternoon. I never know what time it is. What is a movie? What old school movie could be on and you just sit there and watch it?
Right.
This is one of them, The Blind Side. And now I don't think I'll ever watch it again.
See, that I enjoyed The Blind Side, but it wasn't a movie that I would stop and watch over and over and over again. But I can understand why, a little sportsman like you would do that.
I mentioned all sports movies, by the way. Rocky, Major League.
Right.
Remember the Titans. All sports movies.
And probably replays of the 1968 Detroit Tigers.
84 for me.
My movies, I always watch New Jack City, Kill Bill. We have one together, Shawshank Redemption.
There you go. Shawshank is always one. Non-sports movie, by the way.
It was.
But yeah, I don't know. You guys.
I know you're gonna know this one.
Okay.
Do you remember the movie, The Perfect Storm?
Yes, with George Clooney.
Yes, with George Clooney. They're in the bar, waiting for the ship to come in. They're watching a game.
Ooh.
At the bar. Do you know what game that was?
I don't.
Michigan, Ohio State.
Really?
Yes. Next time you watch that movie,
I will never look at it the same way.
Michigan and Ohio State. It's quick.
Wow.
But you can see the little gray uniform and then the Mays helmet, and you can't forget that one.
Unmistakable. The other big story happening today is, have you seen this one with Wander Franco?
Yeah, that's creepy.
So Wander Franco has been placed on the restricted list and will be away from the team, according to Jeff Passan, ESPN Major League Baseball writer. Allegations are rising that Franco is dating a 14-year-old. Now, that's the allegation. And you pull up this person on Instagram, JB. I think did we look on Instagram?
So I didn't get to see it. Does she look older?
She does not look 14, and it appears that she has a kid. I'm not saying a 14-year-old can't have a kid.
Yeah.
But she looks way older than 14, and she's got a kid.
From what we've seen on Instagram, she does appear to be at least 18, 19, somewhere around that range, and there are photos of her on there with her child that they're assuming is anywhere between 18 to 24 months. And there also are photos of her driving with alcohol bottles as well too. So I don't really know what's going on. I don't think a 14-year-old is actually going somewhere and buying alcohol.
Yeah, I don't. There's so many moving parts to this story.
There's a lesson in this for you. You are a high-profile player in this community. Always check the ID.
Wander Franco. That is it. There's no doubt. But I do feel like this is an allegation, number one, and no matter what happens here, let's just say, just for the argument's sake, for the sheer argument's sake, that this girl is 22 years old. Now that this allegation is made, it's just always out there, no matter what, if it's true or not. Like, he's always going to be the guy that was put on the restricted list for allegedly dating a 14-year-old.
Yeah, no wonder when he goes out on dates, he carries a diaper bag with him.
This guy.
So another thing about that post about the alcohol and the driving, you have to be 18 in whatever country they're from to be able to consume alcohol. So there's a little bit more validation to that. This allegation may not be true.
And maybe they follow that a little bit more in other countries. Maybe they don't. I don't know. I'm no expert other than this story is happening today. The Rays have placed him on the reserve list. He is not playing. because of this allegation, and it is just, man, you just never freaking know what's going on. Man. Nope. You just never freaking know what's going on. Guys, one more break. We'll do that now, and then I want to ask Terry a really dumb question.
There's no such thing as a dumb question.
I'm going to ask him a dumb question. But first, a message from
Mark White.
Mark White.
When buying or selling real estate, flexibility and control over the sales process is key. Sellers, how would you like the freedom of canceling your listing agreement at any time for any reason with no penalty? That is exactly what Mark White and Associates offers. It's called the minute-by-minute listing agreement by Mark White and Associates. Try Mark White's risk-free minute-to-minute listing agreement today. Looking to buy or sell real estate? Visit markwhitesells.com or call 248-290-8242. That number again, 248-290-8242. markwhitesells.com, where flexibility meets success.
We are the network for Detroit by Detroiters. Welcome to the Woodward Sports Network. All of Detroit's sports teams live on Woodward. All of Detroit's sports coverage lives on Woodward Sports. Driving the best in Detroit sports coverage. How would you like to win not one, but two vehicles of your choice? One for you and one for your wife, your girlfriend, or your best bud. Get to Lady Jane's today for an award-winning haircut and automatically enter for your chance to win. Courtesy of Les Stanford Buick GMC of Ferndale. Lady Jane's, open 7 days a week, walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Hey, this is Mr. Kearney, Chief Academic Officer at Academy Warren. I want to welcome you to the brand new field house. The state-of-the-art facility has a regulation basketball court, volleyball court, soccer field. It can be used for 7-on-7 football. Our K-8 academic features AM, PM, latchkey, small classroom sizes, Learning Street, futuristic media center, free breakfast and lunch, Holton Mifflin curriculum, academic games, K-8 athletics, and more. Enroll today at academywarren.net.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side. Woodward Sports.
Experience the true meaning of exceptional cannabis products with Dispo dispensaries. Indulge in the finest selections curated with care. With over 12 locations, including the new location that is now open in Whitmore Lake, Dispo is never far away. Visit disposhops.com today and unlock a world of endless possibilities in the realm of cannabis. One more time, that is DISPO shops.com, your local cannabis plug.
Great job, JB. Great job. And we want to thank our friends at Dispo. Last Friday was another amazing day for us here. Great to be a part of the family with Dispo.
I tell you one thing, when people walk in Dispo, man, they were cheesing from ear to ear. I'm about to get my weed and enjoy the weekend.
No doubt, man. People love that stuff. Terry, I'm going to ask you a dumb question.
No such thing as a dumb question, but go ahead.
Don't beat me up, okay? I still have faith that the Tigers could win this division. Now,
what year?
In 2023.
Oh,
they are 7 games back in the loss column. I know they're 8 games back, technically, but they're 7 games back in the loss column. They have 2 with Minnesota beginning tomorrow. They need a sweep and can go 5 out. Terry, am I crazy?
Yes. You are very crazy. Now, the last time I checked, do the Tigers still have to play teams outside the division?
Yes.
Okay, if that's the case, then there's no way they're going to win this division
Right.
because they're going to keep losing. And
Yeah.
this is a team that could beat Minnesota and then lose to Kansas City.
This season was like right there for them. I mean, they had that 9-game losing streak in May, I believe. And outside of that, I mean, they're playing friggin' damn near 500 baseball. Just that one 9-game stretch, they just couldn't get this. So many missed opportunities for the Tigers this season, man. I don't know why I'm like even hanging on hope, but I just like to be, entertained a little bit. So we'll see. These 2 games against Minnesota can keep me dialed in, or even a split. Even a split sends me home.
Well, I would say the Tigers have not been horrible.
This is pretty decent watch.
They're not good. But you know what? When push comes to shove and there's a big game, they can't score runs.
Right.
Then they'll score 10 runs the next game, or 7 or whatever. But, the bottom line, they're not consistent.
Mm-hmm.
They're not good. And I also have another philosophy. The Tigers don't have a guy that if you're, like, doing housework and the Tigers are the background and this person comes up to bat, you stop what you're doing to watch him bat. They don't have that guy. So in the past, they had Miggy in his prime. They had Prince Fielder, Cecil Fielder, guys that were so good that you had to see what they were doing. They don't have that.
Hell, even Juan Gonzalez was that guy, right? In Tiger Stadium. Apartment. Are you buying a house, Juan? No, apartment.
Oh, my God. He was the most annoying Tiger to ever cover, because when he came in with his entourage, and then the little PR flunkies from the Tigers saying, okay, Juan is here, but you can only talk baseball. I said, well, shoot, I don't want to talk baseball with this dude.
Unbelievable, man.
Only baseball.
You gonna buy a house here, Juan? No, apartment. That was fantastic.
There was 2 prominent athletes who wanted to get out of here as soon as they got here.
Juan Gonzalez and
Ndamukong Suh. Yeah. He was itching to get, and I hear people say, oh, no, Ndamukong wants to come back. No, he doesn't. And one thing he is doing, he is in Detroit making investments in property in Detroit, but he's not going to be a Detroit Lion.
Right. Not a bad investment. Hey, Terry, before we get out of here, I do want to hit you with one thing. Apparently, the Big Ten is in talks with Las Vegas to host their Big Ten championship football game at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. Have we just totally no holds barred, all in on Vegas? Everything's there, and it's all good no matter what.
Everything's there, and it's an acknowledgement that the Big Ten is expanded, that Los Angeles is a market, that Seattle is a market, that the middle of Oregon is a market. So they're not viewing the Big Ten as a Midwest conference anymore. It's spread. So instead of having it in Indianapolis, they're going to have it in Vegas. Now, what they should do is they should have it in Indianapolis a couple years, Vegas a couple years. Let's move it back, because the bread and butter, or the backbone of the Big Ten, is still the Midwest. Iowa, Nebraska, Michigan, Ohio, Indiana. This is where the heart is. And these are the people that care about football. Have you ever been to a football game on the West Coast that wasn't the Rose Bowl?
No.
They don't give a damn about those games.
Oregon and Washington really are the only 2 schools on the West Coast that sell out their football stadiums.
Right. They do care, but still.
But outside of that, the other 10 teams, they're not selling nothing out.
I went to a Stanford USC game, and I don't know why, but I was just there. So I was visiting my daughter. So we went to. They didn't go. They didn't want to go. So I went there just to see what it was like. It's like polite applause. Oh, first down for the Cardinal. All right, that's cute. They didn't care. And the other thing that I was trying to, the halftime score, Stanford was up. It was like 9-0. So it was still a game. The USC people were leaving. They were driving back to L.A. Stanford has a mall on campus. The USC people at the mall. They're at In-N-Out Burger. And they were driving back to L.A. at halftime of a 9-0 game. They didn't give a damn about that game.
It's insane, man. I'll tell you, if the Big Ten championship game is not going to be in Indianapolis, send it out to the Rose Bowl. Can you imagine Michigan USC playing the Big Ten championship game in the Rose Bowl?
Sure.
That'd be sweet.
That would be nice.
Yeah, better than Las Vegas.
Or how about at Ford's Field?
Oh, that also. Hey, if they could host a WrestleMania, if they could host a Super Bowl, they can host. I think they can host a Big Ten championship game.
That's right.
Terry Foster Do you have any parting words for the listeners here on the final word?
My final word is get off J-Mo's ass, let him play, let him be a player, and you're going to see a better player.
I love that. And then as far as the Lions go, because I got to take advantage of my Terry Foster knowledge here, because you never know when T-Foss is going to be here on the desk. I feel like you've been elusive. You've been doing all the other shows. The morning show, the afternoon show.
I thought y'all didn't want me.
No, hey, man.
This is rare company, the final word, man.
Man.
Everybody can't be on this show.
Not everybody, but you can be.
Okay.
Not everybody. Lions Super Bowl this year?
No, absolutely not.
I thought I'd catch him in a weak moment.
No, you didn't.
I thought I'd catch him in a weak
it.
moment. Well, Terry, thanks so much for being here. I know you've got the pork loin that is smoking.
Yes, it's smoking. I turned it down a few degrees so I could do this.
Well, I certainly appreciate it, buddy. JB, you rock, my man. Parker, you rock. Hopefully everybody out there enjoyed themselves today. Have a great day, everybody. Hey, before you leave us, hit that like button. Let's get to over 250 likes. 250. Let's shoot there. Thanks for watching, everybody. Braylon back tomorrow. Mazaway back this week. That'll be it for us. Tell a friend about Woodward Sports Network. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. So long, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow night.
My pork loin better not be burned. No.